Colorado begins its second week of spring ball in 2025, their fourth practice today on Monday. Our first chance to get an opportunity to talk with Coach Prime, and a chance to talk to Jordan Seaton as well as DJ McKinney. Overall takeaways from just today overall.
Yeah, I mean, lots of energy in spring ball, and Coach Prime talked about something we've seen in the past. When he's talked on well-off, things like that. And when he talked to the team, that look, he's sort of excited about coaching without his sons. I'm sure he misses them, but he talked about how, hey, I can just be coach now. I don't have to be coach and dad. And so he had good energy about him today. And Jordan Seaton and DJ McKinney are guys that they're really stepping into leadership roles, and the Buffs need them to step into leadership roles. I think that's the biggest takeaway with those two guys, and probably why they were two of the ones that were at the podium today, is because you need some leaders to emerge, right? You lose Shedeur and Shiloh and Travis and Cam and a whole bunch of guys, and so DJ McKinney and Jordan Seaton seem to be natural leader types, and so I think both those guys are stepping up in that regard.
Yeah, and this is something that I've used to describe Julian Lewis, is that he's mature beyond his years. Jordan Seaton got here on campus a year ago. He was mature beyond his years, but you're still a true freshman in college, and you still have to learn this, that, and the other. And not just that, just daily life things about feeling comfortable about where you live, kind of having that routine. And he talked about how that's allowed him to step into this leadership role, the fact that he has kind of gained that comfort when he showed up with a ton of confidence already.
Yeah, he talked – one thing I love about Jordan Seaton is how he's never been shy about, hey, I need to get better at this. I don't like that I was doing this, and I got to get better at it. He's always told us things like that, and he mentioned that stuff. I think it was you that asked him about the comfort level, and I asked him, well, what are some things you looked at on tapes you just didn't like? And he mentioned that he thought when he got fatigued that his technique really dropped, and that he's working on that this year. And so you love hearing a player like that is already a star, and could get away with maybe not working as hard, but he doesn't do that. And those are the type of players that are going to be great, is when you're already really good and you work hard to be even better. And that's what I've always loved about Jordan Seaton. I think he's very mature, and just today was another example. Every time we talk to Jordan Seaton, I come away saying, man, that's a mature young man, and he's going to be really good.
Travis Hunter moving on to the NFL, obviously. It's crazy that you just don't even worry about that cornerbacks group when you lose arguably the best player at that position in college football. Yeah. And part of that goes to how good DJ McKinney has become, getting Preston Hardge back, and obviously Colton Hood's emergence. He is DJ McKinney said that Colton Hood has turned up the dog factor. Yeah. I didn't know that was possible based on the way how aggressive he was as a cornerback last season. That's a group that you feel really good about.
Well, I think Colton Hood is one of those guys, more so than DJ McKinney. Why people are maybe excited about that cornerback group, only because what you've seen out of McKinney and you like that. But there's enough that we saw out of Colton Hood where you're like, okay, that's a really good replacement, for Travis Hunter, who we think is going to be the replacement. And so if right now they rolled out and it's DJ McKinney, Colton Hood, and Preston Hardge, I would say, yep, I'm good with that.
Yeah, and I don't know every roster in the Big 12 intimately, but just maybe it's a biased take, but it feels like that would be as good as any in the conference.
Yeah, I would think so. And look, Coach Prime was the latest, Coach Robert Livingston said it many times, and Coach Prime said it today about Coach Mathis, Kevin Mathis, and just praising him and how good of a coach he is. We learned today, Coach Prime mentioned, that the Saints wanted Kevin Mathis as well. I mean, they tried to get Robert Livingston, and CU came through with an extension that they wanted to get Kevin Mathis as well. And so, look, there's a lot of praise for Coach Mathis. There's a lot of praise for this cornerback group. And you look at what he's done, with DJ McKinney and Colton Hood and Preston Hardge and Travis over the last couple of years, you say, yeah, he's probably a pretty darn good coach.
And R.J. Johnson has moved over from safety to cornerback, and it seems like early on in spring ball, he's trying to make a statement at that position as well. One other guy that got praised today was Isaiah Hardge. Yeah. I went through a whole spring ball preview, going through every position, and I got to the end of that and go, wait, I just need to talk about Isaiah Hardge for 5 minutes because I have no idea where it's going to factor in. Yeah. Right now, it sounds like slot receiver is where he's working. He has shed the gray jersey for now just to kind of focus on slot receiver as well as returning punts.
Well, and I think that makes sense for him right now because of what we were just talking about with the corners. Where would Isaiah Hardge fit in that corner group if everybody's healthy? I'm not sure.
Backup nickel.
A backup nickel. So, but you could be a starting slot receiver. Yeah, I'll take that. I think he's going to make more of an impact on this team on the offensive side of the ball. And look, Coach Prime has always said, master one side, then maybe you can do the other. Maybe we'll see him back at corner at some point. I would imagine, like, if there's injuries that they go through in 2025, then maybe Hardge goes back and plays some corner. But I got to tell you, I'm excited about him as a slot receiver. And he's one of those guys that we got that little bit of glimpse against Oklahoma State. We're like, ooh, okay, that's what we've been hearing about, because we haven't been able to see it a whole lot with Isaiah Hardge. We've heard about him for 2 years, but we haven't seen it, and we saw it at Oklahoma State. I'm excited about him, and I do the same thing because I'll go on my little chart that I have him listed under the corners, and so a lot of times when I do receivers, I forget about Isaiah Hardge. I need to move him on my chart over to receiver because he needs to be talked about there, because I think they lose some really good receivers, and I think they have some really good ones back, even without Isaiah Hardge. But you add Isaiah to that, it's like, ooh, okay. I think this is going to be a really good group.
If memory serves, they had 3 plays where Isaiah was in the Wildcat formation, and I think all 3 of them were successful. 2 of them got called back by penalties. Yeah. So just let the man eat out there, because he's definitely proven every time he's got an opportunity here to make some plays as a Buffalo. Coach Prime's face also lit up talking about kickoffs.
Yes.
Clearly, last season he was getting frustrated towards the end of the season by the fact that other teams are just booting these things through the end zone, and they're having all these returns. It was a lot of fun to watch their coverage teams because they were relentless. But Buck Buchanan apparently has got a leg that's going to keep things kind of boring on that kickoff coverage unit.
Well, I was kind of laughing because Coach Prime said this. He goes, "You have no idea how frustrating that's been for me." And I'm like, no, I think we know, because he's mentioned it a lot over the last 2 years. And and he talked about how he goes, I was just watching it the other day. He was kicking field goals like through the uprights while kicking it off. And he goes, there's going to be some that are going to go into the band and things like that. He's excited for that. And so if he's excited about it, then we ought to be as well. I'm not sure anybody in the country is going to be more excited about a touchback than Coach Prime this year when Buck Buchanan does that. And he talked about Damon Graves' new mate, he calls him, is doing well. So yeah, I think there's this time of year, there's always a lot of glowing things you hear, right? But Coach Prime has never been one that is going to tell you something if he doesn't really believe that, in my opinion. And so when you hear these things, like, all right, he's feeling good about this stuff.
It's just a different team. It's not these 2 star players that are going to grab all the headlines. It's balance is something that I wrote of being kind of the theme of week 1 of spring ball, of offensively balanced. Like, this is just a more balanced football team as opposed to having a couple stars at the top.
Yeah, and I think the fact that the stars are gone is probably going to put CU down the list on the expectations. But I think this team's going to be better than a lot of people think overall. I don't know quite yet if they'll be better than they were last year, but I think they're going to be better than what people expect, because I think the expectations are going to be low when you lose a Travis and Shedeur. But you look at all the pieces around here, and I get excited about a DJ McKinney and a Jordan Seaton and Isaiah Hardge and Colton Hood, guys like that. You start going down the list, you're like, no, there's some really good players here that that we've seen at least glimpses of in the last couple of years, if not in starting roles, like a DJ McKinney.
Depth has gone from this program's biggest issue in 3 years under Coach Prime. Now it's maybe one of their strengths in this Big 12. And so I think that's going to be a big part of why some people on the outside underestimate them. And this is going to be a better football team than that expectation. Coach Prime was asked briefly about a potential contract extension. He kind of brushed that off pretty quick. Any other takeaways from his part of today's press conference?
No, I think just excitement for he's clearly excited about this team, and he did mention some pro day stuff that he's going to go down to the Big 12 pro day. That's later on this week, and the Buffs are going to have their I guess they're not calling it pro day, but showcase event here on April 4th. So lots of opportunities for some former Buffs to show themselves. He did hint. He said there's some guys that probably won't participate, but they'll be there. You can imagine that's probably like a Travis, maybe Shedeur. Although Shedeur said in the past he would throw to his receivers here. I don't know if he's going to do anything at the Big 12 Pro Day this week, but yeah, I think Coach Prime, there's some excitement there, and he was in a good mood today, and we had him for almost a half hour, and he was really good today.
Definitely. And so Colorado's going to have another media availability window on Tuesday. We'll be back with our reaction